a new device which I'm going to be installing soon. It's the Nucleus Class B AIS Transponder from Digital Yacht. As part of this sort of show round, I'm going to be offering a 15% discount to anyone who wants to buy any products from Digital Yacht. So yeah, fill your boots. It applies to any of the products on the Digital Yacht site and lasts for a year. So even if you're not thinking about buying one now, you've got the discount code for a year. Just use the Sam Sales 25 discount code at the checkout, and then your 15% will be applied for buying stuff. So yeah, but this is the AIT 5000 Class B transponder, and this will replace my receiver unit, which I bought just for the trip really round from the south coast. Getting seriously busy out there in the English Channel, North Sea, wherever you're sort of sailing in this area. There's always a lot of vessels dotting around, so this is going to help me quite a lot in foggy conditions when I'm just trying to make a cup of coffee or some food, or just trying to get a little bit of nap time, rest time. I can kind of be assured that someone can see me on some device. So yeah, this is just literally out of the box. It's quite big, but this comes with the VHF splitter as well, which you do need if you're not putting a second AIS antenna in. Then you've got your GPS antenna there, so you'll need to install that probably onto the back of the boat somewhere, and then bring the cable down. And then it's just, you've got your power and NMEA cores there for connection to your chart plotter if you're running a 0183 chart plotter. There's a service port there. There's a USB connection for connection to laptop if you've got a chart plotter running off the laptop. An updated device on there. This is the NMEA 2000 connect, so it's the N2 net connection. So if you've got like chart plotters running 2000, then you can connect to that, and then that will work for that as well. This is an FM radio cable. Really not sure why you'd have that yet. I've yet to read the instructions. So yeah, that is an AIS GPS antenna input. So the cable will come in and go into that for your location. This here is the connection. So when we're talking about the VHF splitter unit, it's very important that you have a decent one, and this is all integral. So you'd have where your VHF antenna comes in, you just connect it on to one of the ports here, and then you've got a cable supplied which basically comes out and goes the little cable comes out and then goes into the back of your VHF radio. The other great thing about this, which I've just forgot to mention, is that it's Wi-Fi as well. So if you've got your chart plotter, you've got your phone, you can connect to this via Wi-Fi, and yeah, all your targets will come up on there, just the same as if it was connected to a chart plotter or something like that. So I'm kind of mostly a chart plotter, tablet based chart plotter sort of user. I kind of just use my phone or whatever. I sometimes find having just a chart plotter there all the time sort of takes my focus away from using paper charts, which is kind of what I like to use most of the time. But I tend to use both. So I use paper charts, and I use electronic charts as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As mentioned, there's the discount on in the description box below that, but there is simply Sam Sales 25 in caps on at the checkout. So, and that will apply 15% on all the items up to an unlimited amount. So fill your boots. So it's not the most amount of space to work in with this, but I was thinking about putting this out of the way somewhere, so no one would ever see it. But I do want to kind of have it as close to my, you know, my chart plot is going to be and stuff, because I don't want any signal being interfered with that. So probably put it around about there, I think. The side bits where the screws go in,
You've got this fancy little plastic cover that kind of goes over the top, and it kind of conceals all the screw bits, which is amazing. Okay, just connecting the VHF connection up. That's the antenna going into the unit. See, I'm just playing with the cable space here before I mount this permanently, because yeah, I am struggling a little bit from my point of view. From the boat's point of view, I'm trying to pull some of that. I've managed to get another probably inch, so yeah, we'll see. The cable, this is the cable that's supplied with the unit, that goes into the back of the VHF. Probably could be a little longer, but it doesn't really matter. This is good for my purposes. We're just gonna put this in here. I think, yeah, that's gonna work fine. That's just gonna fit in the back there. Into position. Excellent, so I have just temporarily powered this thing up using temporary connections. Wi-Fi connection, I'm just going to try and connect to this now. We go to the IP address, which is HTTP. So we go into our browser and we go and type in what it says in the manual there, the web interface, http://192.168.1-1 tp.1.1. Oh, look at that. And I'm in. And now I can see like the status. Valid MMSI, not there. GPS position fix, not there, obviously not, because we haven't got a GPS. AIS transmitting, not currently transmitting. AIS antenna, not that. Position report received. Oh, we got a position report. Now, come out of there. Oh, I guess. Oh, it's like all there, look. And then you set up your vessel details in this menu. So, I'm going to put in stowaway. Putting on all the details of the vessel here, which is really good. Obviously, I'll be solo most of the time, so I just put like solo in brackets there. And yeah, all the data connections and stuff like that, which is really awesome. So I'm just going to do that now, get all my details out, and get this thing updated. Taking the GPS antenna off, that's now down there, and what was up there, I'll remove that. Just got to get this through the center and then back into the chart table. Where are you? Scallywag. I don't know whether that is the thing I've just cut off or not. So after much effort, that's the old GPS cable. I know where that's running now, and just need to get the new one in. It's slightly thicker cable on this one, so might have a few little challenges en route, but let's just give it a go. There's two hands, and that just screws in there like that. Oh, you are kidding me, man. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Not got enough space underneath the unit. Oh, wonderful. I'm good at this. Okay, it's a little bit snug, but I've managed to get that in there. I might actually just come out underneath and under into that cabinet, but we'll see how that runs for next time round. So now I've just got that is connected to the switch. I did read that there is a silent, like a manual silent mode loop here. I can't remember which wires they are, but you've got if you connect a switch to it, you can actually, instead of switching on to silent mode from the app, you can just, there's a manual switch, which, so I might connect that in just so I can easily switch that on and off quite quickly, if you like, while keeping the unit on. So obviously if you turn the unit off, that's gonna, you know, just take everything out anyway, but the silent mode just keeps the unit on, and you can, yeah, just switch it off when you want to come online again. So the job that I really have been putting off, and something you've probably been thinking about if you've been following the videos of this refit, is at the start I started having a look at one of my chain plates, and which revealed a little bit of liquid that came out the bottom, but nothing too serious. But I had some issues with the tools I was using at the time, and decided to stop it and carry on with the hull, which was obviously the priority at the time. But now we're sort of getting on top of things with the external part. I do want to uncover at least one of these chain plates and give it a good look over, and obviously replace it with something a bit more hard wearing. So if I spin the camera around, so this is how I left it. I started with a sort of multi-tool and trying to work around sort of like the shape of where the chain plate is. This is fully glassed into the hull. I think there's two skins on this hull, and it's sort of been bedded in between, or sandwiched in between the inner hull. But what has happened, I believe, is that there's been some rusting from the other side in between, and I think that's starting to push outwards. There were some signs of that happening when I first bought the boat, but I really do need to address it and see how bad that rusting has gone outwards, if you like. So yeah, it looks as though they may have been replaced at some point in the past. Originally these were 304 stainless, I think, and many were replaced with 304L stainless, and I think anything from 2000 was 316 stainless. But the mild steel, there were mild steel plates fitted originally, backing plates fitted, so they're the cross sections on the chain plate which are fitted to give it sort of like the horizontal support. But a lot of them were mild steel, so they corroded pretty badly. So I need to find out. There's no evidence to suggest that these have been replaced in the past, so this is the next big job, and obviously the condition of it will determine you know, whether I need to go around and replace all the others or not. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So tools I'm using for this job, I've actually picked up on a couple of videos. I think it's one of the American boat maintenance channels. I can't remember the name of it, but he suggested that you can actually do a much cleaner job, because this is going to be a mucky job. It's inside for a start. Is to actually grind it away with really heavy grit sandpaper on a belt sander, and literally have the hoover, which I've got here, ready to catch it, because it rotates one way, so all the grit and debris will flow downwards. So if you have a hoover nozzle underneath here, my thinking is that I'm going to be able to catch most of the debris coming off this job. So I've got quite a bit of gel coat to get through. So this is a 40 grit belt, sanding belts. As you've seen from the top, I've taken the main halyard and I've brought it down on the port side, put it under a bit of tension, and then I've taken the cap shroud off and secured it to one of the inners, just with a bit of tape, just to stop that flying around. Okay, well, that's gone. I haven't got any of the doors open. Apparently, if this works well, there shouldn't be any dust at all. He says, get off me glove. Look at that! Just went through the GRP ever so quick. Really, really tiny. Unbelievable job. So I'm actually grinding through. I mean, look at this. Look how thick that. I mean, that's like the top end of the fiberglass. That's the top end of the fiberglass cover. This is inside the inner hull, and that's laid up. So that's just how much fiberglass we're dealing with here. I've gone as far as I think I could go with that belt sand. That is pretty well uncovered now. Kind of got most of the edges done, although some of them I think are still glued in. That side is. The top section might need a bit more, but I think if I take some out of the bottom, I might be able to drop it from above. Still need to grind out a bit more. It's just bottomed out on the top brace again. The other one is, we're almost there with that one actually, but I don't want to put too much pressure on the hull, just in case there's some damage to the outside and I start doing something to the outside of the hull. So I'm just gonna take a bit more off the bottom here and just keep lowering it nice and gently downward. Attempted removal of chain plate, take 3. Alright, put some light on the situation. Let's see how this goes. I feel like we're very nearly there. This is just waggling around. There it is. Wow, there's just the top section there. Generally speaking, looks in pretty good nick. There's no corrosion at the deck join. It's a bit manky around the backing plates, but then the bolts look like they're a bit rusty, but apart from that, it's okay. I'm just gonna clean this up a bit. Absolutely no way I am putting stainless back in there after all that effort. So I'll be putting aluminium bronze in, and yeah, hopefully that will bed in quite nicely. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with the backing plates, how I'm going to secure them yet. I'll probably cut out a section of the aluminium bronze. I've got quite a few plates that I managed to get a pretty decent buy on, and I'll do the same sort of thing by tapping a hole into the new backing plates. I'll be using probably a 316 bolt. I don't know how that would go down with aluminium bronze, to be fair, but I mean, these are not too bad looking. It's just the rust along the backing plate. So again, like an inferior metal, maybe they cut up the previous plate, I am not sure. But anyway, yeah, time to go home and fab some stuff up. So now I'm gonna clear up that area, just make that good and ready for putting in the new plate and glassing that in. and yeah, it should be all good. You can just see the layers where I've been trying to get that top bracket off. It's been an absolute nightmare, but we are finally there. Actually really good to see what the others are going to look like as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit aluminium bronze plates, slightly more expensive. It's probably about 3 times the price of stainless, but the thing is, it's extremely resistant to corrosion. This is the chain plate, so I've marked this up with holes, and forms the same sort of kind of shape above the deck. So there we have it, and just 2 holes there. I have done this job on a previous boat before, where I've actually had the chain plate showing, and then bolted over a solid oak timber, which I've then bedded into the inside of the hull. But in this situation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep the chain plate itself exposed, but and bolted to a backing plate section of the same material. So this section is going to be bonded into the inside of the hull, with the exception of the threaded holes, which are going to be shown. So essentially what you'll have is the chain plate is going to be bonded on either side, with just the hole in the middle exposed and slightly off the inside of the hull. So that will allow, where is it, the chain plate to come in from above and then slot over the top, and then it can be bolted in reasonably easily. I think eventually I'm going to have a pretty solid, I mean, these are exceptionally strong material to actually use, and probably overkill, but I don't really want to have to do this job again in future if I can help it. Okay, so the new chain plate, I've just offered it into position. Haven't drilled any holes yet, but that is kind of centered to where I want the sort of location over the backing plates, which are going to go in there. And yeah, I think one of the backing plates might be a bit too long for that, but I'll just go downstairs now and yeah, we'll get that sort of measured up. I think I might just take this down now. These are slightly wider, these chain plates as well, so yeah, I just need to go downstairs and just check over the length for that chain plate. I think it's probably going to be a bit longer than that, but they're going to bed into this section here more so, and then this area is kind of going to be left hollow. And then all of that section is going to be hollow as well. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this design today. Here's the chain plates. Looks like I'm about to go on some sort of crusade, but yeah, being able to tap the backing plate on the top section, it's because the aluminium heats up, it just ends up leaving it on the end of the drill bit and becomes ineffective. So I had to ask the boatyard to help me out with that. The lower one, I'm going to use a small sort of nut on the back end of that. I did end up drilling the backing plate hole quite big, so yeah, my bad, but that's okay. I can get access to that, and I might whack a bit of epoxy just around it, just to hold the nut in place, so I can remove the bolt itself in future. And that's the whole point of doing it like this, is so that in future, if I ever want to remove the chain plate itself again, I can just remove the bolts and then just shift the chain plate on its own. It's been a week and the chain plate is looking pretty stuck in the hull now. This stuff has gone off. It's rock solid. Probably one of the best bonds you're ever going to get, really. West Systems epoxy. I actually got some stuck on the water inlet hose, and I can't get it off for the time. It's not a bother, but like, it literally, you can't even, it's just like a little nib there, like, I can't even get that off. I put some I'm going to glass in some biaxial cloth on those backing plate fingers there, just one there. I've kind of cleared this area out of the way of paint, and I'm going to glass in around there. Now, obviously there's some pretty hard, shardy kind of bits around here, so I'm just going to smooth this all off, ready for the glassing, and then put some West Systems on, make it look go tacky, and then put some of that over the top. But yeah, and just smarten it up a bit, let it go hard, and then maybe put some paint over, and that should be that. If you read up on the spec of West Systems epoxy, it's absolutely insane stuff. So yeah, I've kind of used that. I've done this job before on another boat, and yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I never had any issues with using West Systems. We were just bonding a piece of solid timber on to mount the chain plate onto, and yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. Never budged once. I see some people using polyester resin. You can do that. It's probably cheaper, I would say, but obviously your layup needs to be a bit more sufficient, really, or substantial than you know, how you're laying out with West Systems. But I think what I'll do here is the design of the chain plate, where you've got cross members, means that if you ever did lose any of that that grip, or the epoxy gave way or whatever, physically the chain plate can't go up through the deck. It is physically stopped by the deck. I'm still waiting for my GoPro to charge up. The batteries are terrible, honestly. I've only had that like a year. I've got another battery at home which I haven't had much use of, but yeah, these GoPro cameras, their batteries, they don't seem to last the sort of full capacity very long. Maybe sort of, yeah, maybe 100 hours of good use, and then yeah, you're probably looking at a replacement battery. I see the GoPro Hero 13 is out now. And they're quite highly rated, so maybe I might get one of them, but obviously everything's gone onto this project at the minute. Yeah, that is the priority. Laying up some glass just around this chain plate, and going quite well, I think. Let me just get myself positioned on the toilet. And so what I've been doing this morning is just laying up layers of biaxial cloth from the outside and working my way into the middle, so we've got like a layered kind of pattern. Yeah, it's the movement is more upward, obviously, so the plates are already bedded well into the sort of inside part of the hull. The main thing is well bedded in there, and a much better solution than what was there before, I feel. So one of the last jobs I was leaving right to the end was the varnish around the cockpit. Obviously needed to sand back all the old stuff which had been slowly flaking away. I was really quite worried about some of the areas of the woodwork, so I wasn't sure whether that was going to need some proper repair, but generally speaking it was in very good condition, which was a relief. So anyway, I'll let you just watch this. Not really much to it, just sanding back, and obviously got rid of most of it quite quickly with the sander, the orbital sander, with I think it was 180 grit, and then just refining the grain by going over it by hand, just running along the direction of the grain. It came out really nice. Been using Sadolins yacht varnish for most of the woodwork for the project so far, and I was really happy with it, so I decided to use it on this cockpit surround. It is thinned down by about 20% with just white spirit, just to help it absorb into the grain initially, and then just standard coats afterwards. Installing these cleats, I've just been giving a little bit of a refurb. It makes sense to take them off, check them out, and get them back in. I think it should be good. I've been at it all day, just non-stop, just doing stuff. I'm knackered, but I'm still going. But yeah, it's going okay. Look at the varnish on that cockpit, look, amazing. That's lovely in the light there. The other thing that I have got back is my stack pack, which has got the new sort of well, the boom slider section sewn in, so that's good. Plus the zips for the new reefing lines, they're all in as well. And also I have finally got my spray hood back with the new plastic from Sail and Cover in Ipswich. That's amazing. I was thinking that it was going to come out, and I've also given this a good, the spray hood itself, I've given it a really good clean, so that's free of grime and stuff. I was thinking I might have to replace that at a much sort of not wanting cost. So yeah, that's a kind of relief, and we actually be able to see out of those windows now. Someone else getting their sails out. Looking good. So that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. A lot of little jobs going on, so hopefully I've covered most of it. If you've got any questions about any of those, then just leave the comments in the comments box below, and then I'll try and reply to the best I can for you. As mentioned, there is the 15% discount on Digital Yacht. So that's everything that they have on their website, and the Sam Sales 25 discount code at the checkout is available for a whole year, and that's sort of like unlimited, so how much you're spending sort of thing. So even if you're not thinking about getting something now, just keeping it in mind for yeah, later on in the year. If you've got any big trips planned, then obviously maybe you want one of these units. Yeah, they're yeah, as I said, 15% off. So yeah, anyway, next video I'm going to be probably getting ready for going back in the water, like seriously getting the sails on, all that sort of business, and maybe even capture some of the footage of Stowaway finally being launched after this refit. So yeah, thanks again for watching. See you next time.